And yeah, we can start from our chanting and then we go to the text, see what uh, what we can do with the text. So Jacob and Laura, we are already in this is fifth week. I think you don't need to worry too much about text because we are trying to in the future going to kind of longer project that may be. Uh, if we can sustain for a while, we can do that. That's what I'm willing to do. And that takes maybe a little bit exercise to familiarize the vocabularies concept and more sort of understanding the meaning. We need to understand the style of Mipham Rinpoche himself, how to present. Also, James already kindly this morning we have a special uh, talk or conversation with scholars that particularly work on the Mipham Rinpoche's works and the Zanda Foundation. If you know, if you don't know, don't worry. This is one of the foundation that supports Tibetan Buddhism and particularly Tibetan Buddhism. They have a lot of support translations and practices and other stuff. And usually monthly, they have kind of invite a scholar or practitioner to discuss Buddha nature or some subjects that relate to Tibetan Buddhism. And this morning was particularly uh, Mipham Rinpoche. That's what we are looking at. I thought maybe it would be good if anyone watch or anyone have access to that record if you want to um, watch. James already did a lot of work here, so if you have time, maybe you want to look. I thought we're going to compromise our session to this teaching, but then I was totally naive that when James sent me message, it's already passed this morning. So uh, I don't know how it went, but seems James happy with it. Anyone watch it says happy, good. If not happy, then also good. We don't need to deal with that. Er, we all care about happiness, yeah? That's what we do. And people are unhappy, then very, very bad things happen to to us. So, meanwhile, all happy people, we are chanting start with Longchen Taekwondo, which is I'm more familiar with. I'm sort of grow up with the Longchen to practice. If I say too fast and too mumble way of saying Longchen Yingte, if what does that mean? Is Longchen Yingte is one of the heart essence tradition, which Longchenpa, we probably everyone know, who wrote this basic space of phenomena or uh, expanse of phenomena that we probably everyone know what I'm talking about. And he wrote that in the 14th century. But then we have 18th century, we have Jigme Lingpa, famous, uh, is not direct student, but he meet Longchenpa in a vision, uh, wisdom vision for 3 times and transmit all the teachings, and he reveal the his terma, which is in a dream, more in a dream. in Bodhanath in Kathmandu. Have you been there? You're familiar with this magnificent stupa everyone knows. So if you go to Kathmandu. And that teaching, it's called Longchen Yingte. The Longchen's related to the Longchenpa, that's why it's called Longchen. Nyingte means heart essence, the heart essence of Longchenpa. It's not really Longchenpa himself's teaching, but it's due to Longchenpa's teachings that Jigme Lingpa expired with Longchenpa's teaching and his many years retreat and visions through that and the terma, what we call Longchen Yingte. And his student, the main student is Dodrup Rinpoche, Dortrup Chen, the first Dortrup Chen. And of course, maybe many of us already know or many teachings or empowerments from getting from him, the fourth, I think his fourth Dortrup Chen. He was in a scheme and almost he grew up in Tibet and then he skipped and the rest of his life spent in a scheme where his monastery is called Choten Gompa Distuba Monastery. And he gave empowerments, teachings all the time. And I got teachings from him, not only the Longchen Yingte part, but 9 volumes of the Jigme Lingpa's writings that including all these. Jigme Lingpa has 9 volumes and famous some treatises that maybe in future we could learn that Yodenzu, the tertiary of qualities, that's massive, but sometimes we can look at. And if we settle together physically, I can read the oral transmission. Maybe would take a long time, but that's we could do. Meanwhile, Bhimakara translation already translated the text. I think commentary by Gangyur Rinpoche. It's not his own commentary, but Jigme Lingpa has own commentary. So I'm sure when we are ready, the English version of text will be there. That's kind of a comprehensive teaching of not only Dzogchen, but not only other particular things. It's comprehensive teaching of whole Buddhist teachings or even more Tibetan Buddhist teaching would be comprehensive. If knowing that is good, then you have more tools, more choices, more avenues that you can learn more dharmas from there. So these similarly, Mipham Rinpoche's writings are more comprehensive way. Even this very short text is attaching, connect to the level of teachings and terminologies and other stuff. So that's just what I want to say, and we can now read a few lines of these Longchenpa's preliminary, the heart essence of Longchenpa.
Do we have an umze?
Meanwhile, before that, we have adopted in the past few years that this is more traditional, general Tibetan teachings. We pray to Manjushri, which is beautiful verse, a little bit long verse, but someone can lead us in English maybe today.
Lincoln, would you mind doing that for us today?
Homage to the Guru and the Protector, Venerable Manjughosha. Your wisdom is brilliant and pure like the sun, free from the clouds of the two obscurations. You perceive the whole of reality exactly as it is, and so hold the book of transcendental wisdom at your heart. You look upon all beings imprisoned within samsara, enshrouded by the thick darkness of ignorance and tormented by suffering, with the love of a mother for her only child. Your enlightened speech, endowed with the 60 melodious tones, like the thundering roar of a dragon, awakens us from the sleep of destructive emotions and frees us from the chains of karma. Dispelling the darkness of ignorance, you wield the sword of wisdom to cut through all our suffering. Pure from the very beginning, you have reached the end of the 10 bhumis and perfected all enlightened qualities. Foremost of the Buddha's errors, your body is adorned with the 112 marks of enlightenment. To Manjughosha, the gentle voiced, I prostrate and pray, dispel the darkness from my mind. Om Marapatana di 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 di. Om Marapatana di 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 di. Om Marapatana di 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 di.
Amara Bhajana de.
With all of your kindness and love, let your wisdom shining light clear the darkness of my ignorance once and for all. Grant me, I pray, the intelligence, the brilliance to understand the scriptures, the words of the Buddha, and works of the masters. And whenever I wish to look upon you or ask of you anything at all, Lord and Protector Manjushri, let me see you without any hindrance.
Oh, first this is calling Lama from far, or sometimes Tibetans we have calling Lama from far, but sometimes these Tibetan meaning Lama Jambu is there is sort of two ways of thinking about it's calling Lama from far, or means the longing your teacher maybe near you. That's why calling Lama from far is coming from. But really means it's this is the praying Lama kind of loudly, or the expressing the gratitude or the asking blessings is kind of loudly. So Jiang has this when we sing songs, they allow loudly singing or strongly singing is called that. So it's related to the devotion that arise and kind of outcry of help by Lama. So that's more here. So people often read that. If you want to look more, very beautiful Dunjum Rinpoche's himself compose someone's request. Some of his students request him to write sort of Guru Yoga for him, Guru Yoga or this calling Lama from far, or devotionally calling Lama. And he has, there's a little bit twist in the Tibetan language. It's saying the Lama you don't need to calling far from, and you don't need to search around near you a Lama. So your Lama is your mind nature, and kind of if that's when you have time, look at Dunja Rinpoche's Lama Jombu. That's the most beautiful Lama Jombu, and it's related also to the Dzogchen teaching. I think I brought up this many times in Florida and other places. We look at a few words here and there, but we see. Anyway, Lama Ingeno, Lama Ingeno, Lama Ingeno, Nyingwe Tebe Kesara Jebane, Jabje Chenchen Lama Yang. le don nyomo jabo zerwaye garwa ngamba dala jobi jewa de jin golo jende jo dendai shi jin gunjong shin so. And someone in Lincoln, you are today?
O Lama, care for me. O Lama, care for me. O Lama, care for me. From the blossoming lotus of devotion at the heart of my center, rise up, O compassionate Lama, my only refuge. I am plagued by past actions and turbulent emotions. To protect me in my misfortune, remain as the jewel ornament on the crown of my head, the chakra of great bliss arousing all my mindfulness and awareness, I pray.
This is taking refuge and launching into preliminary practice. Kunjo zong de ye zawa zong zalong de le rong yin zhong jo sen. Ngo rong yin du ji jing ho la zhang zhong yin bo for the jobs two times in English.
In the three jewels in their essence, the Sagatas, in the three roots, Guru, Deva, and Dakini, in the Nadis, Vayus, and Bindus in their nature, Bodhicitta, in the mandala of essence, nature, and compassion, I take refuge until enlightenment is fully realized. In the three jewels in their essence, the Sagatas, in the three roots, Guru, Deva, and Dakini, in the Nadis, Vayus, and Bindus in their nature, Bodhicitta, in the mandala of essence, nature, and compassion, I take refuge until enlightenment is fully realized.
Can you stay there one few minutes? I can explain here we have the three jewels and the essence that this goddess and three roots, which are, we know, Lama Yidam Khandro in a Tibetan. Often practitioners know more about these sadhanas. Once we do done preliminary practice, then we do practice Lama, Guru sadhana. And then the Deva means Yidam. Yidam means you are. I have discussion with others here. These people often use as a tutelary deity, but tutelary deity is what I learned from my poor English. I asked, what does that really mean? Then this person was telling me that a tutelary means a protector, sense of. If that's the case, it's not really Deva, it's not the protector, it's more Yidam. Yidam means it's difficult to find that word in English, but some people translate as a personal deity. So you make a commitment to this deity, to connect with this deity. You choose a chosen deity for yourself through your karmic or the feeling or whatever it is. Either you choose a Vajra, Chakrasamara, Vajraklaya, Manjushri, or Yamantaga, and whatever we choose, that's deity. And in Guru, different lineages choose and Guru as also different. And Kajupa, maybe we can choose Drikung, Lord Jigten Sungong, General Kajus Melareba, or others. Most Nyingmabas choose Guru Rinpoche and then deity. So then comes to Dakini, which is Khandro practice, which we often Vajrayogini, Vajravarahi. These are common names that we use, but then of course there's different names of each sadhana we use. So these three are, here we use Guru Deva Dakini Sanskrit word, but sometimes people are not familiar with this term. That's why I want to sort of explained through maybe some people know more Tibetan Lama Yidam Kando or the teacher and tutelary deity or the personal deity, and then Dagini is much more. One time we have discussion on Dagini, but mainly means the female deity that you personal deity, whatever you choose. So these three are important. I also in the past talks about the function of these three, and practice of Lama is blessing, practice of Yidam or the Devas is more siddhi, and then practice of Dakini is removing obstacle for purpose. And then Nandi, Vayu, and Bindus, these also Sanskrit, these somehow these Sanskrit translation is for quite heavy Sanskrit terms. So Nandis, we know channels, what we have when we talk about our body has channels that wind goes through, and somehow due to that, our mind is whether settled or calm or agitated are coming through. That the value is wind. So Nandi, the channel, the value, the wind, and the bindu is always used as a drop, which means sometimes people these kind of sphere or circle or drop or whatever we use, but really means these three are the essence of our kind of subtle body that we have nandis, values, and bindus, and so forth. These are we see forever learn the zalong, what we call Tibetan. Za means nandi, long means value. So it means zalong means we are practicing or manipulating or the utilizing the channels and winds uh, to to achieve a certain level of the calmness of our mind or realization of our mind and so forth. So Bindu is also carried by these, of course, winds and through Nandis, and and that is the Bindu is also related to the mind. So these are important things we know. So these particular refuge prayer contains all levels of the practice. You can see the first three are the Buddhist basic, fundamentally what we even we call arhats and bodhisattvas. They need to take refuge to the three jewels, and then comes to tantric. We have take refuge in this lama and yidam and kando, and then comes to higher tantras. We use have this rely on the utilization of the channels and winds and drops and so forth. And then comes to Dzogchen level, then we have this essence, nature, and compassion, and this. So you can see everything in this four lines. Okay, next one. Na zo no le jin de jin ri ji gurwa le gu jin de jam be ndu rong re wo za yan sa ngar so je ti me ji ngone ne sem je do.
You're mute, Lincoln.
Oh, mesmerized by the sheer variety of perceptions, which are like the illusory reflections of the moon and water, beings wander endlessly astray in samsara's vicious cycle, in order that they may find comfort and ease in the luminosity and all-pervading space of the luminous expanse of awareness. I generate the immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity of the awakened mind, the heart of bodhicitta.
One more.
Oh, Oh, mesmerized by the sheer variety of perceptions, which are like the illusory reflections of the moon and water, beings wander endlessly astray in samsara's vicious cycle, in order that they may find comfort and ease in the luminosity and all-pervading space of the luminous expanse of awareness. I generate the immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity of the awakened mind, the heart of bodhicitta.
So here, of course, it's beautiful and also very profound at the same time. And these, especially when last few years we spent on Madhyamaka Avatara, I think that also helps us that especially the three compassions, when we talk about three compassions, that how we generate our compassion to bodhicitta, not compassion to bodhicitta, and then we have these three compassions somehow use these the reflections of the moon and the water. So similarly, here is same thing, and then we can go next page, and Lincoln, you can help us.
Oh, like bubbles appearing on water, all of you deities arise from the space of primordial wisdom before us. I prostrate in direct awareness of the ultimate nature. I offer the increase of visionary experience. I confess in the full measure of awareness. I rejoice in the exhaustion of phenomenal reality. I implore you, turn the wheel of Dharma from the expanse of great transference. I request you, please remain in the great rainbow body. I dedicate all the merit toward the youthful face body.
Thank you, and that is also excerpt from the Longchen Yingtik practice. We call this hard essence of Longchenpa's Terma, Jigme Lingpa's, particularly the Guru sadhana or Lama sadhana, is called Ringzinduba, gathering of Vidyadharas. And there we have these sadhana, in sadhana, we have these accumulating through three branches that often we chant. And the three branches are shared in sutras and tantras, all levels. But this is particularly from this Longchen Yingtek. It's not from sort of preliminary practice. This is from main sadhana of Guru Rinpoche's sadhana, which is called Vilama sadhana. And we know people are more familiar with maybe the king of aspiration prayer, where the beginning, this sutric 7-line accumulating prayer and merit prayer, and here is we have the particular Longchen Yingtek sadhana in Guru Rinpoche sadhana. And we have another, sometimes we chant from others prayers that also I'm familiar with. So these are important, how to accumulate merits through the chantings, through the thanking, through the offerings, prostrations, and so forth. So that's just, I think, Yeah, slowly we adopt maybe longer chantings, maybe even long chanting to preliminary practice itself. We could chant step by step. That would be good. And other thing, it's not really your busy life. I'm not promoting anything or pushing anything, but one of Ngakchen Rinpoche's student will ask me to teach. I think he has a little bit on behind that. He asked Ngakchen Rinpoche, and Ngakchen Rinpoche asked, send him to me to teach, mainly talking more about the Dzogchen, particularly Rushen practice. Rushen means there's bodily exercise, mentally exercise. Somehow we are caught in this mix entanglement of the what is samsara, what is nirvana, we don't really know. We do all the time mix. So then the Dzogchen practice, somehow we need to separate that to what we are doing is somehow should not entanglement with worldly things. So that's why this particular practice is called uh, uh, this separation of the samsara and the nirvana. And so he's a little bit, I think, totally not new on this subject, but it's need to start from a sort of beginning. And meanwhile, I thought it's good to him to listen some of my teachings, and meanwhile also we are dealing with all these dharma practices usually, and that's what we have, and better to have some sort of guru sadhana, Guru Rinpoche sadhana. And I have, of course, I can introduce many Guru Rinpoche sadhanas, but I'm more familiar with the Longchen Nyingtik sadhana or the Chongling Tersar sadhana. But in the meanwhile, beginning, maybe I don't want to overwhelm anyone. So that's why it's a very short, precise sadhana that and Chongling Tersar, which is Drukor Rinpoche's lineage. And I practice that, and have done that sadhana through 3-year retreat. And so these sadhana has longer one, middle one, and short, and then these really short one is kind of daily practice that anyone can do. Doesn't really require much kind of sadhana version of the step by step and so forth. So I'm going to sort of lead that sadhana and give a long online, since we are connected on the internet. So because it would be good, anyone, we are together, but that we are at least connected. So now Lama's permitted to give these long teachings online, so that's what we can do. And if anyone interested in, please join. So that's why I ask Chenru to provide a sort of stable Zoom link, and then I don't need to worry about to communicate with each individually to inviting and providing my Zoom that I'm sometimes I'm not good scale on communicating emails and also take a lot of time to write and respond and those things. So that's why we have already, I think, scheduled. So tomorrow, I'm not sure, but we see sometime in tomorrow. And not every Saturdays, but I think that tomorrow is the beginning. So we can, if you think it's wanted to do this, sadhana is very short. So, and then in the future, maybe we can meet and discuss more, and maybe we have more longer sadhanas, and good thing, very good, good sadhana. You will love it if you don't know. I promise. And that is okay. Any questions before we go to the text? Okay, that means we can read our text. Our text is sometimes, if you are really, really only focused on practice, maybe this is a little bit dry and distant. But and at the same time, vocabularies, concept we need to learn. And we talk about 4 logics or 4 reasons, and then we are talking about we need to rely on something that more reliable. That's for we have done 2 already. One is this: we cannot just rely on words, but we need to rely on meanings. We cannot rely on just what people say, but we need to rely on that person, what reliable or not. And our style of our study here, I think we don't know in the future what we do, but these we adopted for long time, few years in Florida that we studied together, Madhyamaka Avatara. That's why we did these gems work very hard to providing us in this way, and it's I can see Tibetan and English different versions, so that's way it's more meaningful in terms of I can look back and forth, and also the English versions that appear some are better than maybe a little bit better than others. So still we have choice on the translations. There's no bad translations, but there would have better translations all the time. And I read Tibetan, and then we do our what we do, our generally how we proceed this. 吞了那么的语管呢，传统民众谢谢呢，从未吞了么吞吧，也别吞了等下的。I think we need to read 2 together, 2 verses together. 跟前你就跟前人都人看不到三八洞，特别人把那给就当我心头的。
We will popcorn to one another. So I will start and then I will pass it on to the next person. If you have your camera on, just please be prepared. When it comes to the meaning of what is taught, you should know the provisional and definitive and rely not on any provisional meaning, but only to the meaning that has a certain truth. the all-knowing one himself, in all his wisdom, taught in accord with students' capacities and intentions, presenting vehicles of various levels, just like the rungs of a ladder. Laura?
Wisely he spoke with certain intentions in mind, as with the 8 kinds of implied or indirect instructions. If taken literally, these might be invalidated, but they were spoken for specific reasons.
Laura, just so
Yeah.
you know, we read across. So Kempo reads this Tibetan, and then we each read an English version. So we're asking you to read these 2 right now. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
No worries. When one engages in the meaning, one should know the provisional meaning and the definitive meaning and rely on the definitive rather than the provisional. Since the omniscient one was all-knowing, he taught the yanas in sequence, like steps ascending a staircase, according to students' styles, capacities, and interests.
And Laura, if you can pass on to the next person. Thank you.
Jacob Hellman.
When entering into meaning, understand definitive and provisional meanings. Do not rely on provisional meaning, but rely on definitive meaning. The omniscient Buddha, in all his wisdom, in accord with the lineages, capacities, and intentions of living beings, expounded the teachings of various vehicles of different levels, just like the rungs of a ladder.
Kempola, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Here, these 2 verses are what showing is that either you already familiar with Tibetan Dharma or not, but sometimes, of course, people think Tibetan teaching and Dharma is quite messy. Now, it's messy because it's received very end of Buddhist slowly declining and then in the wipe out in India and of course then stop translations that going through China and finally in Tibet. But Buddhist teaching are not like other teachings. Either there's one book that's called Bible or one book that's called Quran. They may have need to go through this provisional meaning, the definitive meaning. But Buddhist teaching is since Tibet, any teachings that are taught by Buddhas or followers of Bodhisattvas or Panditas or Mahasiddhas collected as a holy teaching. So there's a lot of in the surface level, there's a lot of contradictions arise because of the different views and the different practices, different conduct, and especially if you look at Theravadan to Mahayana jump to a lot, and then Mahayana to Tantra, and Tantra itself has a lot of levels. And their strategy is categorize and what are the levels we can talk about, what different views, what is their different practice, what is different result would be. And sometimes even not that is not good enough, even more sort of controversial tantric statements that quite is not normal in general statements. So that's somehow if you treat every teaching as a holy teaching, then need to strategy to say what's a definitive meaning that's really meaning. Even the surface level of the words are contradiction, or the teachings that just leading to the final goal, not necessarily talks about the final goal itself at that moment yet. So these kind of we need to know. That's why the provisional meanings means it's so leading to the students or audience or the practitioners to the correct path, and two, then the final goal is what a realization needs to be needs to achieve. So that's why these two are very useful, especially comes to Tantra, and then it's more useful. Even say sometimes Buddha say, "Oh, you read these two lines, you will become a Buddhahood." But that mean immediately? Probably not. And if you read these through your practice, maybe one day become a Buddhahood. And so these provisional meanings to lead them. And sometimes Buddha say there is a person to practice and accumulate merit, and then Heart Sutras and others say, oh no, there is no person, there is no accumulation, and so forth. So dealing with that kind of surface level controversy that through interpretation of whether it's provisional or definitive meaning. And then in a Nyingma tradition, we have 9 yanas to divide these, and then even that is not good enough, so we still need to strategy to tantric methods to talk about that as well. Okay, next one. Gong yi kong la gong ne so, den gong gong ba ji da wu, zha xi xi lan sema ye, nu kong gu qir zong ba yong, yu qir 2 words together. I think we need to read 3 words together, maybe. Yeah. Gong yi kong la gong ne so, den gong gong ba ji da wu, zha xi xi lan sema ye, nu kong gu qir zong ba yong, yu qir chum da xie dan, tar chi dor ji ti bi war. Wōngmē mātō chā kāngī kōngmē sārwa xeba ye, lōng xī rīkbī chī chōpan tōngi ngī bē tōnzēn bā chūle wōngjī ngāngbā xī, lōng chō jār sōng jām sōrō.
Wisely, he spoke with certain intentions in mind, as with the 8 kinds of implied or indirect instructions. If taken literally, these might be invalidated, but they were spoken for specific reasons. From the 4 schools of Buddhist philosophy through to the ultimate Vajra vehicle, aspects not fully realized by the lower approaches are made clear by those which are more advanced. Seeing it to be superior according to the text and logic, the intelligent sees the definitive meaning like a swan drawing milk from water and revel in the ocean of Buddhist teachings. Spencer?
There are 8 categories of intentions and indirect intentions based on Buddha's purpose regarding the basis for intention. He spoke this way because it suited his purpose, whereas taking the words literally would impair valid cognition. Because of his intentions, there are various levels of teachings, from the 4 Buddhist tenets up to the sublime Vajrayana. The aspects that are not understood by the lower levels are clarified by the higher ones. Having seen which teachings are closer to reasoning that accords with scripture, one holds the definitive meaning. Like swans who can extract milk from water, those of the highest intelligence play in the ocean of the Buddha's speech.
Spencer, you want to pass it on to someone?
Sorry, I had to cough for a second. How about Masha?
With a certain purpose in mind, he dispensed some teachings with 8 kinds of implied and hidden intentions. If interpreted literally, they go against valid knowledge, but there are cases in which these teachings were necessary. Therefore, from the 4 schools of Buddhist philosophy through to the ultimate Vajra vehicle, that which is not realized by those of the lower levels is ascertained by those of the higher levels. This is established by scripture and by reasoning. Having seen this, the wise sees definitive meanings, and like a swan drawing milk from water, plays in the ocean of Buddhist teachings.
Tempala, you're muted again.
Sorry. Here we have going through this, each example is a little bit difficult, but it will come when we study more text, Tantra and itself. So really here means something in a Buddhist teaching, you cannot really take, taking literally, this might be invalidated, which means if we take this teaching as a literal meaning, then it could be harmful, even not only the invalid, but it's harmful. For example, in the Buddhist teachings, we have, especially comes to Tantra. In India, we have this Brahmanical tradition, which is very much talking about the hierarchical society, and there is sort of these Brahmanical circle is more sort of hygienically purer than the other tribe or clan group. And so some teachings are purposely not competing, but it's more mass up. There's tight, fixated structure of that kind of rigid social hierarchical structure. And similarly, China, we have the Confucius filial piety and those. So some are really against these Brahmanical traditions that then you can drink whatever you drink from human skulls and wearing human skulls on an egg and so forth. These are kind of socially against the rigid Brahmanical tradition. And also the language itself, Sanskrit is supposedly can compose very beautiful verses and using a kind of beautiful language, suitable language. But sometimes purposely that's this vernacular language to use to sort of outrageous way of explaining, and sometimes even the literally saying, if you kill your parents, then you will become a Buddhahood, and so forth. If then that is, of course, its provisional meaning, and that implies something. And that's teaching is not direct teaching, indirect teaching, and so forth. So these killing parents means they need to kill kind of abandon or overcome with our ignorance and desire and so forth. So these kind of, that's why Tantra is sometimes need to learn through these nuances of the methods that they give, provisional or definite meaning, or the implied or direct expressions and so forth. Those are we would see in Tantra itself. And then another tool I already talked is Buddhists already have 4 philosophical tenets that we talk about. And one of them is Vajrayana, that is sort of we see. So these 4 philosophical tenets I'll go step by step. So these vocabularies, I'm just, we are reading together, he's introducing, but you can slowly familiarize these language and concept and purpose and so forth. Then it's when we go to the actual Tantra itself, then we don't need to go through these nuances of the language concept and terminology that what does that mean and so forth. So it's important here. And also these texts would have commentary if you can find in English, sometimes read better because then give examples exactly what those might be and so. And then of course I know everyone know like swan drawing milk from water. Maybe I don't know this scientifically we can prove that or not, but that's a legend that they can do that. So we see. So anyway, that's something ability to separate milk from water. So that's a kind of to extract something through whether this is implies something or this is indirect teachings that we need to understand some way. So of course there is direct teachings as well, and then this is intend something else, or this is we can understand sort of true literal meaning. Anyone has to say? Okay, next. Samo dorje tikbayang tatu tsuryi je taba jubi menga tangdrobe timirikbi tenlapa.
The teachings of the profound Vajra vehicle are also sealed by means of the 6 limits and 4 modes, but can be definitively established by stainless reasoning, accompanied by the pit instructions of the lineage. Paula?
The profound Vajrayana teachings are concealed through the 6 parameters and the 4 styles of interpretation. They are established through flawless reasoning along with the key instructions of the lineage. John?
Vajrayana is sealed with 6 places and 4 levels of meaning, associated with the essential instructions of the lineage and established by stainless reason.
So these are kind of overlapped you can check what those are, and you can find on the internet and so forth. But these definitive meaning and provisional meaning and sort of direct and indirect and literal meaning and so forth, it's you can see. I think someone is posting on the chat, so you can look there. And so anyway, that's how we learn. Here, we don't spend too much on these texts. These texts is just introducing what possibilities and what terminologies will occur in our study. Okay, next one.
Kempo,
Hmm?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I can't figure out how to raise my hand here. I had a question I wanted to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was talking with Eric about this, the 6 limits and the 4 modes.
Yeah.
And we found an appendix in the Light of Wisdom.
Yes.
However, it's quite intense, so we thought we would run it by you if you want, because it gives some examples of 6 limits and 4 modes from out of the tantras and stuff, and some of this is, I'm sure it's fine, but you've already talked about killing parents and whatnot, so.
Yeah.
And I also have an example of the 4 modes from Mipham's White Lotus, the explanation of the 7-line prayer. Would you like me to make those available?
Yeah, we do. I first want to go through this kind of quickly, and then
Okay. I just meant like not here in our session, but just as offline. They can look at it in the folder.
yes. So when we do that, please,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah,
Please understand, I'm never trying to take over the session. I want to know what resources you'd like people to have.
of course.
Okay.
Nobody really thinking it that way.
Okay. Maybe it's my confusion.
Yeah, could be.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Whew.
So, what we have here is now we are these 100-some verses here. So we are 77 now. People usually memorize this, but it's too much for you, maybe. It's sometimes just numerations and so forth, but the language and the term are good, yeah. Chūgūn yéni thākpa tāng nyāmba nyi tsu sōngyū kwa yāngdāng tsima nyi jine tēnla pāpi tēng kōngi. I think we need to read together, yeah. Paro chi nang jiba tōng zōdu dzokpa chenpo ye, tsōr tsu tsik ji bēn tar chi, nē lang garmin yukpa ye. Need to still read 3 together. Tēng lang ye bi tēng tōpa lo tēng chō tu jerwe zin zemi chū tsang chōngwa lōng tō tēng bi jan tsang yin.
The inseparable union of the primordial purity and great equalness of all phenomena is the point that is definitively established by the 2 authentic valid cognitions. By applying the key points of the literal, general, hidden, and ultimate meaning without any conflict in the approaches of the paramitas, development phase, completion phase, and the great perfection, one gains the confidence of certainty about reality. Then, the supremely intelligent heirs of the Buddhas come to master an inexhaustible treasury of Dharma as a sign of victory for the teachings of scripture and realization. James?
All phenomena are a unity of primordial purity and great equality. The 2 types of accurate valid cognition establish exactly what this means. Without contradiction, one penetrates the essence of the Prajnaparamita, the creation stage, the completion stage, and the great completion, by means of the four styles of interpretation through the literal, general, hidden, and ultimate meanings. Through that, highly intelligent ones become confident through certainty about the meaning. These heirs of the Buddha hold the inexhaustible treasure of the Dharma and the victory banner of the teachings of scripture and realization. Zoldi, and you don't have to put your video on.
Okay. All things are originally in the inseparable union of primordial purity and great equality, which is ascertained by means of the two types of valid knowledge. In the tradition of Sutra and in the stage of generation, in the stage of completion and in the great perfection, through the literal, general, hidden, and ultimate meanings respectively, one grasps their essential points without contradictions. Having obtained the profound realization of the ultimate meaning, the heirs of the Buddha, endowed with supreme wisdom, maintain the inexhaustible treasury of the Dharma, like the victory banners of the Dharma of transmission and of realization.
Thank you. And so here, I think it's important if we sort of a little bit go through these, like all dharmas are pure in a beginningless time, and also inseparability, union of the emptiness and appearances. How sort of established by these two valid cognitions, so that we talk about whether we thinking about the four systems of Mipham, which is a valid cognition, or the two, just we think about the conventional valid cognition and the ultimate kind of valid cognition, these two to establish. So whatever these teachings comes down to practice. Once we do practice, then we have the here didn't really have pranja paramita, but it's have paramitas means perfections, and then we have the generation stage or creation stage. That's what now we are talking about the Tantra. So paramitas are the sutric level, and then we have creation stage, which start with Tantra. And then in the Tantra, we have many levels. We have Kriya Upa-yoga, and then we also have Maha Anu Adi in a Nyingma tradition. In the Dharma tradition, we have a Father Tantra, Mother Tantra, and non-dual Tantras. And the meaning is there. And then in particular, these here is we Dzog Tang Dzogpa Chenpo. It's there is somehow yeah, the creation stage, and you can see the middle one has these the Panchaparamitas, and then we have creation stages, and then we have completion stage. So these two are the main tantric practices, and then we have a great completion of Dzogpa Chenpo, which is a great perfection, separated and here. And earlier we talking about these 4 and 6 types of modes of how to study Tantra. So the 4 modes are here. Is that what we are talking about, the four styles of interpretation through one's literal. Literal meaning means we can directly take whatever appears in a teaching, and then second one is in general, means generally we can understand, but then hidden, meaning something behind that we cannot just really the surface level to understand. And then ultimate meanings means so some teachings that earlier we talking about definitive meaning and so forth. So those are overlapped a little bit, so that's why it's a little bit complicated. But here's the four levels are interpreted in this way. And if we understand in these, through these, we get the meaning, then sort of the victor banner of the teachings of scripture and realizations. Okay.
Khenpo, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
My question has to do with when are these different styles implemented? So generally, I've been in some tantric teachings where there seems to be a consistent presentation. And then on rare occasions, I've been in some tantric teachings where the teacher will say, okay, and now I'm going to explain this in a couple different ways. And kind of similarly to how it's done in the White Lotus, right? In creation and completion, it's like this. In liberation, it's like this. In Dzogchen, it's like this. But it doesn't seem to be the general situation that you walk into a teaching and a teacher lays out all four of these and explains how it works.
Yes, but that we need to imply, but need to see actual tantric commentaries, not the just general teachings. For example, if you look at Guhya Samaja commentary by Chandakirti, he used their definitive meanings and provisional meanings, and those explicitly. I think that's if you have, it's, I'm not sure, they're already translated in English, especially I think that these Guhya Samaja teachings, Chandakirti's commentary, Nagarjuna's commentary, Aryadava's commentary are available in English through the, I think probably we have Robert Herman's has a project of these Indic commentaries are published, I think available on online or book, or this a series of Indic texts. If we don't look at these kind of the actual commentary of Tantra, I'm not talking about the just generally talking about Tantra, but need to look at those Tantric commentaries. Chandakirti's commentary is called, I think, Lamb of something. You can see. Yeah, they are talking directly through going through the tantric verse by verse. So then they need to explain. That's why these things come up. Somehow we have.
I think you're referring to this book, Khenpo.
James, Yeah, now we can see.
Yeah, the lamp, illuminating lamp, Chantakirti by, yeah, Robert Thurman and those. I don't
Okay.
know. You have it or?
Yes,
Oh, okay. So,
I bought this from Wisdom Publications, although I haven't read it because I haven't received the Guya Samaja Empowerment.
oh, okay. I think reading is okay. Understanding. Yeah. Okay. Now, means usually people don't get actual Tantra teachings that much. We can get practice through sadhanas, and its tantric teachings. Maybe I need to explain it a little bit. It's usually Tantra, of course, means in general, means just tantric teachings, but comes to when we say sutra and tantra, it's both Buddha's own teaching, Buddha Vajna. In Tibet, we have Ganjur, which is more than 100 volumes. And then the Tantras here referred to Buddha's own teaching, not commentaries, which means either Guhya Samaja or Chakra Sambhara or He Vajra or the Guhya Garbha. And then we have commentaries. You see, Guhya Samaja has especially these famous Nagarjuna's commentary, Chantakirti's commentary, Aryadeva's commentary. So those are treatises. It's not necessarily Tantra itself. We usually don't get that teaching as well because it requires a very special lineage and teachings like Kala Chakra and so forth. But and it comes to even West, then we got bits of sadhanas that relate to or sadhanas on these deities, and we got a little bit taste of that sadhana, not the tantra itself. That's why it's a little bit difficult to teach tantra. It takes time. Usually commentaries are long, and also tantra itself is quite complicated. So until we get these real tantra teaching through commentaries on the tantra, it's a little bit difficult to feel that we need that much layer of the strategy to teach Tantra, because usually people teach how to practice is more what's relevant to the practice, not the philosophical behind or the strategy behind, or Tantra itself, how to compose is not necessarily we can taste that Tantra itself. And that's the reason some terms are for us look like maybe similar as to how these can interpret, or those still need to Tantra itself to explain. So here I'm thinking we can take a break, short break, and maybe 10 minutes, or you have good idea that you cannot hold back, and if you think if take a break, you may lose that idea. Please hear with us, because I'm keep talking is also not really good for my brain either. Yes, Spencer?
I did a little research on the swan and milk, and Google says that swans can't separate milk from water. They say it's mainly a Hindu myth with beautiful meaning behind it, but Google AI also said that nobody's actually done the research and somebody should do a scientific study. So I think that would be a great scientific study if anyone.
Exactly. And we know there's something, if that's, it's really swan can do that, which means we can do that, to so extract real Dharma essence from teachings, yeah?
Yeah, I like that.
So along the same note, one time I was talking with Anto Rinpoche, who was telling me about a pet turtle that he has at his monastery that could extract the milk from the pond. And so when I looked into turtles, I think there's a reference to kind of like more of a magical type of Dharma turtle that he was referring to, but he said he had those as a pet.
Hmm. That's interesting, because these are just don't need to exaggerate and at that level. If they cannot do, why they need to think about particular animal can do that. But anyway, could be this is one of those eight choices that we made to understand, or those are four meanings. One of that's a hidden meaning that doesn't mean swans can extract milk from water either.
I think, and Lincoln won't be surprised by this. I think Karl Brunholz will actually track down the original myth. I can't find his explanation right now, but if I find it, I'll send it on. I think, as I recall, it has to do with something that the original myth refers to a swan that one of the gods ride on, like Indra or someone, and that was the being that had that capacity. But then it became more generalized. But Kempo, I had a separate question. You mentioned you received some transmission from Dodrupchen Rinpoche.
Not only transmission, I receive.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it smaller than it was, but you received a great amount of teaching from Dodrupchen.
Yeah.
I was just
um,
wondering if I found the correct teacher here. I wanted to.
yes, that's him.
I'll share this with the group for anyone who's interested in learning more about your teachers.
Yeah, he's first reincarnation of him is Yingmei Lingpas, the heart son, we call her son, the main student, and he composed the Nyingtik preliminary practice, what we are chanting. The preliminary practice, I'm talking about preliminary practice, yeah? And he's, and another teacher called Yingmei Jerry Nyuku, there are the Batu Rinpoche's teacher, and Batu Rinpoche, last time we talked about Jacob, that he's maybe reading the word of my perfect teacher is perfect to how to start with, and then word of my perfect teacher is commentary on the preliminary practice of heart essence of the Longchenpa. So these three generations, Jigme Lingpa to the first Dodro Rinpoche, and then his classmate, sort of Jigme Jervi Nyuku, and these two are the main student of Yingmei Lingpa, and then we have Yingmei Lingpa's reincarnations. That three major reincarnations are the body, speech, and mind. The body reincarnation is they call Donqian Jiwi Ishidorji, and speech is Patrul Rinpoche. He's good at writing and talking and those. And then the mind reincarnation is in Jamyang Chenze Wangbo, which we have generations that Chenze Chuji Lodu, which is famous Chenze in a scheme after exile from Tibet. He's the main teacher of the all lineage. And then Tingon Chenze Rinpoche is also another Chenze. So there's a lot of Chenzes, but these are very famous. And then our Chenze Rinpoche these days, our famous Chenze who make films, and I don't know, we all call Chenze Rinpoche, but maybe everyone, Zongsan Chenze Rinpoche, and he's reincarnation of Chenze Chuji Lodru. Yeah. So we are all related anyway. Okay, take a break, rest a little bit, refresh fill up your coffee and whatever you need, and then come back. Okay. See, Laura already put all the lists there. You can look at that. And I think Lee say something that you need to look at as well. He says, sometimes I feel that studying and practicing Tibetan Buddhism is like maneuver trying to follow a well for something. If you feel that way, it means you are in same page.
Kempo, since people are still coming back from the group, can I just update everyone on some things I've done in our group study folder?
Yes, please.
Okay, so just briefly. I believe everyone in here should have access to this. So if you don't, please let me know. Our folder was getting quite filled with many different files. So I've created some new folders here. This is an archive, so old stuff can go in here. For example, there was once a scan of some chants that were done at GBI. We now have them on slides, but people might like the old file, so I put it in here. 6 limits and 4 modes now has enough files that it's gotten its own folder. I had sent out an email to everyone in collaboration with Kempo, so I isolated it into a document and put it in here. Texts and ebooks related to our study is where all the things that Kempo has mentioned that we can look at would be in here. So Garland of Views, the lines we're proclaiming Shentong, etc. If there are documents or if I create outlines or anything like that, for example, Kempo asked us to look at the Garland of Views, so I'm trying to just keep a list of all the enumerations that it creates. You don't have to look at that if you don't want to. That's just me taking my own notes. And that's pretty much it. Everything else of interest to anyone should be here in the main folder. So if something looks like it's gone missing, it might be in one of these folders. All right, Kempo, that's all I had. Turn it back over to you.
Great. And anyone want to add comments? Okay, then we could go to our text. And I think now we are Nieto nyam lemba na trato jendo sungji sen number hila me thomba nimi ishini le dön.
When taking the definitive meaning into experience, do not rely upon the ordinary dualistic mind that chases after words and concepts, but upon non-dual wisdom itself. Lincoln?
When practicing the definitive meaning, do not rely on consciousness, the perceiving mind and what it perceives, which depend on words and concepts. Rely instead on non-dual wisdom.
Lincoln, you're unmuted.
Damien?
I think he said he need to take Lil.
No problem. Then Zoldi?
Yeah, I'm with the baby and Melanie, so I can't read, but I'm listening.
Then Zoldi, perhaps?
When practicing according to the definitive meaning, do not rely on the mind that pursues terms and expressions, that discriminates conceptually, and that is dual, and perceiver and perceived. Rather rely on the wisdom of non-duality.
And now we see it's going more and more definitive meaning side, because all these provisional meanings have something to do with concept and words. And the definitive meanings usually when directly talks about the ultimate reality. And once we look at the ultimate reality, then one would not follow these words and concepts. And also that the case, then one would not rely on one's own consciousness and would rely on the non-dual wisdom or the gnosis or the whatever we call that yeshe as that. And here seems the fourth relying on is coming here. Namshila metong yishila danba. So here relying on not on the concept, but rely on the wisdom. So you can see these first two lines is sort of summarizing up to here what is a provisional. We are not relying on a provisional meaning, but we are relying on the definitive meaning. And then once we rely on that, then concepts and words are not sufficient or not good enough to look at. So then what we need to do, we cannot rely on our own consciousness. And here I often sometimes conversation with people that in the West, we sometimes strong feelings of the experience. People always talk about practice as something to do with experience. And that's why it's important to know we cannot rely on our own consciousness means we cannot rely on our experience as well. And we need to rely on the non-dual wisdom, that which means our nature of our mind. Rely instead on non-dual wisdom, rather rely on the wisdom of non-duality. So all use as wisdom. Now we would not have much problem with the wisdom and the knowledge. These two are also use here as knowledge and yishi as wisdom, maybe. So primordial knowing sometimes used as yishi has some sense of primordial. Yeah, it's primordial. And I often translate as gnosis, but that's too close to archaic word. Maybe it's we see whatever comfortable with you. And mikpa jianjie dang ni ne song tong jin bi rang yi chen titi kang te de zun chu ni tong le ngu mre.
That which operates with conceptual ideas is the ordinary mind, whose nature is dualistic, involving perceiver and perceived. All that it conceptualizes in this way is false and can never reach the actual nature of reality. Spencer.
That which has reference points is the mind with the nature of apprehending the apprehended. Conceiving of things in this way is false. In reality, there is no actual contact. And pass it on to Paula.
As for the ordinary mind that operates with conceptual ideas, whose nature is the duality of perceiver and perceived, the objects it grasps along with itself is illusory, and it can never realize the actual nature of reality.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost our conscious. Whenever we have conscious, then that's itself's nature is kind of a dualistic function. And until the consciousness is gone, we would not have non-conceptual wisdom. And if that's the case, it's not going to reach to or attach to or get into the Dharmata itself. So here it's clear that our conceptual mind is a dualistic nature, and that really cannot serve as the final realization, and that we discuss often in the Chu teachings, and you are familiar with, and also other maybe prior teachings that we went through. So here is the same thing, but it's introducing in a step-by-step way. But in the end, we needed to cannot rely on the words, but we need to rely on meaning, and we cannot rely on just words, but we need to rely on the person. And then we cannot rely on a provisional meaning, but we need to rely on the definitive meaning. Once comes to definitive meaning, then it's beyond words and the concept. And no matter what we sort of are trying to understand conceptually, it's not directly reaching to or into the Dharmata itself. And we see the GBI, we got the teaching that's more talks about Mipham Rinpoche was lying that saying, whatever you say, it's caught in the nets of the thoughts. There's no way to go beyond that kind of conceptual nets that we trapped in that concept. And mikpa jianji dang ni ne song tong zin bi rang yin sem titi kang mek teder zin chu ni tong lang umre. Okay, I read that already. And ngopo mek tong ngome mek ni su mek tong ni mi mek heder mek jong mikpa de mikbi kong song du yin ne. I think we need to read together these two. Ju yor yin xin do le song. Ka tang dropa kang ge jong mikpa jik bur men ne la sarya me ban tong ne chor.
Any idea of something real or unreal, both or neither, any such concept, however it's conceived, is still only a concept. And whatever ideas we hold in mind, they're still within the domain of Mara. This has been stated in the sutras. It is not by any assertion or denial that we will put an end to concepts. But once we see without rejecting or affirming, there is freedom. Laura?
Whether something is conceived of as an entity or a non-entity, or as both or neither, no matter how it is focused on, there are still reference points. The sutras say that when whatever is grasped through conceptualization is the domain of demons, conceptualization cannot be destroyed by negating or affirming, but if one sees without removing or adding anything, there is liberation. Masha?
As is stated in the sutras, on the basis of any kind of refutation or establishment. Oh, sorry. As for attachment, be it to the real or to the unreal, to both the real and the unreal, or to the neither the real nor the unreal. All of them, along with the way of attachment, are grasping and are within the domain of Mara. As it's stated in the sutras, on the basis of any kind of refutation or establishment, it is impossible to destroy whatever is grasped. Having seen that there is nothing to refute or to establish, one is liberated.
We know that Mikpa is sometimes difficult to read, translates. The Mik itself is means focus, a kind of either you focus on the existence or non-existence or dual or non-dual. All these focus. Sometimes Mikpa as translate as perceive objects or whatever in front of our concept. That is already taught as a domain of Mara, and in the sutras, that is why the Mikpa is means there is objects that relate to our concept, and that is called dualistic. And these kind of domain or objects, the focal domain, that cannot remove through whether kind of assertion or denial, or the cannot just destroying by negating or affirming. So whatever we use that kind of language in here in English. So that's only resolved through the resting. Interesting. But one sees without removing and adding anything, there is liberation.
Yeah, but I think they're trying to use the language from the Uttara Tantra to kind of tie it in here for some reason. That's almost the exact wording from the verse.
Okay. I think that's yeah, fine. So it's related to our Mahamudra and great perfections that often we talk about how to practice and how to rest in our mind, how to need to see. So we also know seeing nothing is best seeing kind of thing. If you see something, then it's always talking about the focal point or focal domain, then it's always caught in this conceptual mind. Okay, next. Is if someone checking our chat box to what's happening, or nobody's checking?
There's a question from Brian Lee.
Okay,
Should I read it out loud?
yeah.
Is the teaching that the fruit of one's positive karma is happiness and the fruit of negative karma is suffering, is that a provisional meaning? And if so, would the definitive meaning would be something like, even though karma has its effect on the conventional level, it is by nature empty. So therefore, the three spheres emptiness, is this a proper way to understand the two meanings using karma?
Yes, could be. That is if we only talk about provisional and definitive meaning in that sense. And because when we talk karma to lead people to diligently practice, in a sense, is kind of that way. It's not definitive meaning because there is no karmas in a sense of definitive meaning, but it's not a sense of hidden meaning or indirect teaching. It's direct teaching because if you do bad things, you will suffer in the future. So that is a direct teaching, but it's a provisional teaching. Is that's why I don't want to complicate it too much because these things overlapped and this is also not hidden meaning. This is literal meaning. But the literal meaning doesn't mean it's not provisional. Because it's literal meaning, we can take directly take these teaching as directly understand. If we do bad karma, then we will suffer. But this is not the definitive meaning, because definitive meaning is talking more about the reality. It's karma is more conventional level. Yes.
I think Laura also has a question, but Laura, how about you unmute yourself and just ask?
Okay. I was listening to a talk by Malcolm Smith that he gave through Wisdom Publications last week, and he said, if I understood correctly, he said that there's no such thing as a truly non-conceptual mind, and that the mind is always cognizing something, and that therefore there's always concept. He said that when texts reference non-conceptuality, what they mean is that the thoughts are subtle and that they don't interfere. You're not caught up in them. And I don't know if I understood that right, but I'd love clarity.
Laura,
Uh,
if I add one comment?
yes.
So Kempo, just so you know, Malcolm was talking in the context of, he was saying sometimes in Mahamudra teachings, you encounter this idea that there's a gap between thoughts. And so someone was asking, is there ever really a gap in the conceptual mind? And that what Laura just summarized was kind of his response. And he said, this is not a idea in Dzogchen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I kind of forget what what you say. But can you repeat it one more?
Yeah.
So,
Is a non-conceptual mind truly non-conceptual, or is there always some degree of concept happening and it just doesn't interfere?
yeah. The Dzogchen way of saying it, mind is samsara. It means beyond mind is nirvana, kind of. And that's why mind rigpa separation is going on. But the English is a little bit difficult. If the concept is easy, maybe. If there's no mind, then how we can cognize or realize even rigpa itself. And for that sense, the language is a little bit directly translate what Tibetan means and what in English. If we say Buddha mind or Buddha has mind, then it's Tibetan Sem and Rigpa. There's two totally kind of can't separate these two. But English, I'm not sure unless we add something that awareness, non-conceptual awareness and conceptual mind. So we don't really want to say when conceptual collapse or gap there, there's still, we want to at least a sensible thing. It's awareness still going on, yeah. And we don't have awareness, then blank. And then that blank is not called realization. The realization is coming from not conceptually, but it's arise from awareness. So it's a very tricky kind of situation that we need to carefully how to juggle with these. But at least non-conceptual mind, then which if we say that that is not really mind, it's beyond mind. The mind has, or mind has kind of concept. As a gap, if stop that thinking or concept, then still something must going on if realization keep going. And that's why we cannot say just a blank. Is that it's more complicated? Probably. Yeah. Sometimes it's better to just meditate I say experience, but that's what only we have. As look at our mind, it's just stopping or is realizing, and that's why it's other teachings saying not seeing is the best seeing. If see something means then it's conceptualized already. But not seeing doesn't mean totally not seeing at all. So it's a very tricky. As soon as we put in words, then it's already changed the nature. So that's maybe we need to learn. So that's why Mipham Rinpoche was saying, no matter how we say it, it's also trap of the concept. Yeah. In other his prayer text. Do you have that text, Laura?
It's the one that was taught at GBI in October. I think the verse was saying something like husk-like words lead only to delusion. However they're expressed, they entangle us in thought.
We have that, I think, PDF file, so maybe we can share that. It's a very short text. It's a precise Garchen Rinpoche's favorite text. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, thank you. That's good.
yeah. I actually joined for parts of that teaching. Yeah.
Okay. And you can read this for us, maybe.
The self-radiance of indestructible awareness and emptiness. In the nature which is uncompounded and uncontrived, nothing can be generated anew through fabricated paths, which is why the ultimate fruit does not arise from a cause. May we come to see what is and always has been within. Husk-like words of speculative ideas lead only to delusion. However they're expressed, they entangle us in thought. Let us practice instead the heart's profound instructions, which arise not from scripture, but are intuitively known.
Mm-hmm. So these kind of that's why I think Gotcha Rinpoche keep telling us that this is very helpful to us. It's very handy if once you memorize that, then something comes, because we are most of the time we are intuitive to want something, then see something that miracle, wonderful, and so forth. That's trapped our thoughts, and it's difficult to get away from that. And yeah, we have more things coming, but if you has any dire questions in the chat?
I think Lee was asking, isn't it often said that the Dzogchen Yidam is the nature of mind itself, the definitive meaning?
That's true. Maybe. And but if Dzogchen has own sadhana, and the Dzogchen Yidam use 100 deities and so forth. So there's no limit, I think, comes to Dzogchen. Dzogchen means everything perfected in, yeah. That means nothing can be not in a Dzogchen.
And I think he has a follow-up question in terms of gaps between thoughts. He was asking, so when gaps between thoughts occur, if they are recognized as aspects of the empty nature of mind, they become the Dharmakaya, right? Otherwise, they're not. So they're not recognized by mind, but by Rigpa.
Yes, what does that mean? I'm not sure, but if we call that as a gap, which means stop thinking, which means Dharmakaya, and that's why we need in Jingmei Lingpa's wider verses to learn how people kind of space out meditations that still call meditation, and how we need to bring up or at least sharpen our rigpa to recognize not just though in differentiated states that we could fall in that part, and still people assuming that that is the actual Tukchu meditation. Yeah, we can talk more about, maybe that's in the wider verses, because that is more Lee yourself request that. So yeah, we do that. Okay, now we are relying on James again to pull out the verses. Okay. It's that's 84 maybe. Yeah? 松动真把棍查就让用一些让物上，他一做把棍去，反正一些脚子上。
Although it is without any perceiving subject or object perceived, there is naturally occurring wisdom that is aware of itself, and all ideas of existence, non-existence, both and neither have ceased completely. This is said to be supreme primordial wisdom. James?
Completely free from perceiver and perceived, naturally occurring, timeless awareness is natural luminosity. Since all fabrications of the four extremes are brought to an end, timeless awareness is said to be supreme. John.
Having done away with both perceiver and perceived, the primordial wisdom naturally reveals its luminosity. Having eliminated all four conceptual extremes, this is called supreme primordial wisdom.
This is a very important part. Even we have a gap. If we call such a gap, still have this luminous awareness. That the luminous often means because when we describe ignorance is a darkness, then we need opposite of that. How awareness cognize or how awareness realize things is a metaphor or the nature of luminous or the light that dawn. So this is luminous is more sort of metaphor because the darkness is more for ignorance. That realization is more awareness. So awareness has this nature of knowingness, nature of aware, and this is important. And through this, then the whether existent, non-existent, and both and neither are eliminated, then that is called the supreme wisdom. And that is a really important part of it. That's really described, I think, it's not really anything, it's not conceptually tangible, but Dunjun Rinpoche's this calling Lama from far is the best I can see. If we can find that verse here, maybe very relevant. Anyone has handy of that Dunjun Rinpoche's four line? Many times we tried, we failed, but some point in the past, I think we bring up that portion. Anyone know? Remember? No?
Kembo, do you know if it's on Lotsawa House?
I don't think so.
I've got it right here. Which verse are you wondering about?
Can you just share?
Yeah, let me try. I've never screen shared, so let me see.
Yeah.
How do I screen share?
Spencer, you click share.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, huh?
Yeah.
Or if you want to drop it to me, I can take it.
Okay. I hit share. Do you guys see it?
No.
No.
When you hit share, it pops up a screen, which then tells you which of your screens do you want to select to share, so that if you have something you don't want to share, you don't accidentally.
It wasn't popping that screen, so there we go. Now.
Yeah, now I see.
Yeah, so this one.
Yes, and we even can read. Someone can read. Maybe you, Spencer, you can read just through.
I love this prayer.
Such a nice prayer. Yeah.
In the center of the 1,000 petals of the heart, in the center of the lotus essence, always giving blessing, always being with me inseparably in joyfulness. Supreme Master, glorious Haruka, fearless wisdom Vajra, you are the essence of all victorious ones. Believing from the heart with total trust, with intense yearning, praying to you one-pointedly, by the Amrita of the city of empowerment and blessing, may you please ripen my mind and liberate me. From remembering my Guru so very much, fervently calling with desperation, besides this unending nature of my mind, I could not find my Guru somewhere else. The object of praying and the one who prays, if they do not exist, with contrived intention, supposedly praying with effort and grasping, why is it necessary to pretend like this? Unrecognizable clarity, the naked, raw nature of empty awareness. This is the only absolute Guru. I recognize this as Yeshe Dorje.
Here,
It-
this line I'm talking about. The early I'm talking about, I could not find Guru anywhere else. Yeah. So here is this is Tibetan English could reflects well unrecognizable clarity, the naked, the raw nature of empty awareness. So these we are talking about. Even we have a gap, the gap fill up with this line. Unrecognizable clarity, the naked, raw nature of empty awareness. The Tibetans even better, but that is our ability to only bring up this. So this is the only absolute guru or lama, which the inner guru. I recognize this. It means Dunjung Rinpoche himself, but someone asked to write a Guru Yoga for Dunjung Rinpoche. But if you want to supplicate your own guru, you can change names instead of Ishidorje, but Ishidorje has also meaning of that the Vajra wisdom is already, you can apply to anyone, but if you want to particular guru, then you can just replace his name with other, whoever you wanted to. And so this guru then continue reading 4 lines is saying that you need to call from far and you don't need to search nearby. Yeah.
You want me to finish it?
Yeah.
It is the great abiding nature from the beginning. In the primordial basis, there is no need to call from far away. There is no need to search nearby. In the all-containing nature beyond thought, of course, there is not even the name of delusion. So therefore, without question, it is enlightenment. Great, even inconceivable exaltation. Whatever arises is all the display of Dharmakaya, the great blessing which is free from any aim. I, a yogi, absorb in my heart, oh great wondrous awe.
Mm-hmm. So how beautiful this is. I think this is sort of a best format that we ever seen so far. Maybe this we can circulate this amount our group, and sometimes we can look again and again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kempo,
Yes.
even if a person doesn't regard Dudjom Rinpoche as a guru, then Yeshe Dorji just means indestructible primordial wisdom, right? So we can still use those words.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah. If you just take us, I think that's his name is Ishidorji, his name, but that implies any一些东西。
Such as one who might be sitting in this room.
Maybe all of us 一些东西 indestructible. Cry like a baby.
So Brian Lee has a question,
Yes.
and I'll try to provide just a little context. Kempo, during teaching of the Choying Zud and other Dzogchen teachings, has given an instruction from his guru, Tuku Urjin, to look at the back of the head as a method. So Brian's question concerns this. The instruction looking at the back of the head aims to disengage our attention from the six consciousnesses. Stop thought causes the awareness to look at itself. However, if we keep reminding ourselves, look at the back of the head, this seems to become a new thought and hindrance. Is the idea to just use this instruction to glimpse for a short time and then rest without reference? Then the next time we look at the head as if thoughts arise.
Yeah, that seems what. But we are, if we have habit of looking back, then we don't need to think every time I need to look back of my head. Yeah, it's first you have this glimpse of it. Just look at your skull. That's simple, kind of. That's just how to look at, so not how to think to look at. That's different. Just stop looking at. We need to know how to do it, but we don't need to think to look back. So somehow in the Dzogchen teachings we call the shapers. Shapers means that the mindfulness is like a shepherd. So always need to bring back our thoughts. Our thoughts are, soon as rise, it's scatter, whether thinking about future, past, or moment, or some objects, or some concept, or some anything that soon as thought rise, thought scattered. That's why it's like shepherd. The sheep's scatter, then it's dangerous by these wolves or tigers or lions. But if you need to constantly to gather together to in the vicinity of your care, yes, and same thing. The mindfulness is a shepherd in the Dzogchen context. It's not the actual meditation, but it's a reminder of the how to, or we need to bring back to this how to rest ourselves. Yes, it's a concept, but we are not king of concepts that producing. We just use that method, and then we stop thinking in that sense. Okay, I think that's a good part, and then we can read a few more lines. Okay. Nyime sogla mulong hi shibi tengun thong manyong, shetar samjong me shibi, shiba nam chakpa je.
Just like the orb of the sun to someone blind since birth, this has never been seen by the spiritually immature. However much they think about it, they fail to understand. And so it is only a cause of fear in the minds of the foolish. Masha?
Just like someone blind from birth looking at the form of the sun, immature beings have not previously seen this. No matter how they imagine it, they don't actually know it, so immature beings feel anxious. Spencer?
Like sunshine appearing to a blind person, it is never seen by ordinary beings. Failing to know it, however much they think about it, foolish beings generate fear.
I think here the language is very difficult to put in a Tibetan as whether it's seeing immature or the foolish. It's just seeing ordinary beings as never encounter with the actual Rigpa. And they never had this gap or this realization or the raw Rigpa of naked Rigpa. So it's not ordinary thing. And it never happened in our life. So now suddenly we have through Dzogchen teaching, then we are encountered with that. Then sometimes people think this is not, this makes discomfort because the gap we talk about or the we are not seeing things that we talk about. Anyway, the countering in this realization would get shot. Ordinary beings. It's not really Shiba is not foolish, but it's not really childish, but it's a yeah, it's more it's saying whoever never seen this, it's not really foolish. It's just ordinary beings. And Wang Zhongyong Da Long in Ta Gung Gok Bi Rik Ba Tang La Me Meng A Doblin Nam Tong Xin Rong.
Yes, through scriptures of authentic origin, reasoning that refutes all four conceptual extremes and the force of the master's practical instructions, it arises in our experience, like sight that is restored. Paula?
However, by means of authentic scriptures, reasoning that refutes the extreme views, and the Guru's key instructions, just like a blind man gaining sight, one will see it for oneself. Laura?
However, relying on the true and noble teaching, on the reasoning of refuting all extremes, and on the power of the master's instructions, as if one's vision were restored, one will see that for oneself.
Mm-hmm. So here it's saying even we maybe get shocked or just get discomfort, but then conceptually we also can build our confidence, belief. These through the reasoning that refutes all four conceptual extremes means Madhyamikas or other teachings that how to step by step to negate, and then finally we fully conceptually understand, and then we are confident in, even we don't have directly a kind of encounter with, and through that, then if we have more pin instructions through one's own teachers, pin instruction, then we can see, so that we can build belief through the scriptures, reading scriptures and logics and so forth, and then finally we can encounter with the meaning. Anyone has more to say? Okay, we can go next one. Tse tiji yikwa yu chuji to siro nyombi, tebi kawa jibi me, tehi yishikur tu shit.
At that time, with a faith that comes from savoring the nectar-like taste of the Buddha Dharma, our eyes open widely in purest joy, and we glimpse the Buddha's wisdom kaya. Lincoln?
At this time, those with devotion taste the nectar of the Dharma of the Tathagata, and their eye of increasing joy turns towards the wisdom body of the Sagat. Sorry. Who do I see?
Very difficult to make choice, yeah? You mute, Lincoln.
Jacob, please.
At that time, one is able to savor the nectar-like taste of the Buddha Dharma. With eyes filled for hundreds of times with faith and joy, one concentrates always on the Buddha's wisdom body.
Yes, now once we have logic or through reason, we can confidence through teachings of teacher, probably pointing out directly to the mind nature, and now we have this faith or confidence, devotion that we gain, and through that, then we really attain the eyes of the wisdom, and then that would be in encounter with the Dharmata. So belief is important, whether any level, but here is the trust and the confidence is very important. And then the chuna malu panyamba nyinzun tarjibi jumi ngibin deng top yon zimi chunzu yulinki.
In this, all things without exception are seen in their ultimate state of equality, and with this certainty about what is itself beyond expression, skillfully, one expresses the unending treasury of Dharma. John?
At this time, all phenomena without exception are resolved in the state of equality. One gains the inexpressible confidence of certainty and skill in explaining the inexhaustible treasure of the Dharma. Spencer.
In this, all things without exception are seen in their ultimate state of equality. Having attained the conviction that is beyond expression, one speaks the inexhaustible treasury of the Dharma.
Yeah, here everything's become equal and so forth, but then it's also through this confidence, it's also one's teachings will be kind of hindered, that reveal and without any kind of problems can teach the treasury of dharmas or oceans of dharmas and so forth. Dēnyi tsolan kēshī bē dēnyi sōngchū tōng tōngsi nīngbō chēr tō bōnsā yā tāp wā tāla shōrō shī.
Having become learned in the ways of the two truths, when seeing the reality of their inseparable unity, one knows that just as a husk is removed to reveal the grain. All the various methods are simply to lead one to this point. Paula?
By gaining expertise in the way the two truths are, one sees the reality of the two truths is union. When this happens, it is like removing the husk to reveal the essence. One knows how to endeavor and all the skillful means. Laura?
Having mastered the principles of the two truths and having seen the inseparable union of the two truths, one knows that, just like the husk is removed in order to reveal the grain, all the various methods are expedient means leading to this point.
Yeah, here the union of emptiness and appearances are luminous. Once we realize that, then that's the essence of all dharmas, and that's also we can think about our own mind nature. And we go next.
Kempo, I have a question.
Yes.
I think this translation is a little misleading.
Okay. What they say?
And I'm curious, this word inseparable that's in the other two translations, is that in the Tibetan?
No.
Because in English anyway, if we say the two truths in union, this sounds like two separate things that have become joined. But as I understand Mipham's teaching, they were never separate from the beginning, right?
How would you say?
Well, this word inseparable has that connotation. They were never separate. They're inseparable. It was never possible to actually separate them.
Maybe that's English you're pointing at. I'm kind of
But I'm just curious what sense the Tibetan gives.
Tibetan Sungjuk is always to become one.
Always.
Yeah.
So I think that exists in these two translations, but it makes me want to like this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because it's been taught to me so many times, it's like almost a tick now. Inseparable, union means never separated from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my English maybe inseparable means seems there's two, yeah.
Well, someone thinks there too, but this word indicates it's really one thing.
No, the word itself says inseparable means there's two.
Okay.
Yeah, and union means there's two. So how
Maybe we don't need it.
The conceptually, if single, then it's not, we would not say inseparable, because here I want to attach both the ultimate truth and relative truth, or there's four unions. Yeah, we talk about these, the non-tone, the union of emptiness and appearance, union of emptiness, union of emptiness and bliss, union of emptiness and non-tones.
Awareness, emptiness, bliss, emptiness, clarity, emptiness.
And the first one is non-tone.
Form emptiness. Appearance.
Yeah. Appearances come first. It's easy. And then the second one is Salton, and then Deton, and then it's if we think about that, the union of emptiness and appearances are mediamicus, union of emptiness and luminous is more sort of Yogacharan Buddha nature, and the union of emptiness and bliss is more tantric thing, and the union of emptiness and awareness is Dzogchen and Mahamudra thing. Yeah.
Right. I think I have a okay conceptual understanding of that. The reason for my question is just because the context of this is saying having mastered, gaining expertise, seeing the two truths, the reality of them. Then we see there's not two, right?
Yes, exactly. There's no two.
Okay.
That's why it's a union. But soon as we say inseparable or union means two. Two things, something happened. Mainly English words, to become one. If there's two, cannot become one. Yeah.
Right. So that I guess that's why I'm struggling with this, is because
Yeah.
it's not that I
Conceptually,
think
the conceptual and the words seems aligned together. So that's why in order to make there's two things, because once we see our appearance, then we are not directly encounter with emptiness. So these things are two aspects are this function or the accessibility is quite different.
Mhm.
But then, of course, in reality, there is no two. That's why we need to either say some union or the inseparability, or sometimes what we call Michipa is now I forget. Yeah, something else. Okay.
so but the view that Mipam's coming from here is like I think the Tibetan is something like Lolo Chigla Dokpa Tade. Is that correct? One essence picked out by two aspects.
No, he doesn't want to go there either.
Doesn't.
It's more than that. One essence with two aspects is just more kind of explaining to interpret to make understand well better. But
Okay. And
here
it's all,
is the actual meaning itself is there's not really two, but the word and concept we need to say that, because if not, then singularity or something. What singularity? And oneness of what? Something that language itself has function. Yeah.
thank you, Kempo. That
Yeah,
answers the question.
because I think it's if we say, even if we're trying to, if we're fixated on one, that's relative to two, right? It's kind of like it's a fixation anyway, whether it's union or inseparable, because they are in relative to each other, and that's the trap of words.
Yeah, words itself is we need to function to bring these two aspects together. So that's why it has function of two. But once bring in one, then should be singularity, but it doesn't work. Singularity of two two aspects. It doesn't work. I think it's interesting. We have seems more questions coming, I think.
I think there are more comments.
Okay.
Maybe Lee did have a question asking, Trekchud is not actually a method, is it?
TQ is called meditation. Method is that's an interesting question. I think meditation is a method to reach to the ultimate reality.
It's another language trap.
Why we need to meditate there, yeah. That is, I think, treated as a method.
I think that's all in the chat.
Okay. Okay, next one. Teacher 대식 탐 전신 탑그 용다 람모시 똥똥 되게 된 말라 이시 똑바 매버지.
With the thought, skilled in means are the Buddhas, and all these methods make a genuine path. An irreversible sense of confidence will arise in the teachers and their teachings. Jacob?
Since the Sugatas know about skillful means, all their methods are said to be a genuine path. This is why one gives rise to irreversible confidence in one's teachers and their teachings. John.
Hence, the Buddha knows all expedient means, and expedient means are called the genuine path. With this in mind, in the teacher and his noble teaching, an irreversible confidence is generated.
Yeah, here I think Lee's question that Lam in the Tibetan path. Path includes view, meditation, and conduct. So which means we can gain our confidence, belief, ascertainment, and based on that we can meditate, and then that sort of the realization of view through the meditation also can nourish by how we act, conduct. So that's why it's the Chukchu meditation itself is a meditation that's included in the path. So that's just the method. I think it's saying all these methods make a genuine path. Okay, mene xin cho to bi si tang xin ta ngang gi cho. Zulmi ning ji chen bu jong cho tu ji men tar. Cha.
By gaining the supreme non-abiding wisdom, naturally one is freed from the extremes of existence and quiescence, and the ornament of great and effortless compassion arises to pervade throughout the furthest reaches of space and time. Lincoln?
By actualizing supreme non-dwelling timeless awareness, one is naturally liberated from the extremes of cyclic existence and peace. Continuous, effortless, great compassion boundlessly pervades all directions and times. Zoldi?
By attaining the supreme non-abiding wisdom, one is naturally liberated from the extremes of existence and of peace, and one's great and effortless compassion pervades throughout the boundless time and space.
I think that's easy once attain Buddhahood or attain final realization, then the compassion kind of rise naturally. And now we are 92. Ted Deni Chuji to Dembe Brigba Hi Zambi, Shile Tomba Nam Yeton, Dembe Juncho Tremele, we need to read together these three together, I guess. Ndivu samu yishi je no number jeban. Rigbi yengsu jeta bepo bet erchen je chord. Munchin tu tong sambe shun jeba me ba trembete. Tete sabdan ja che zon rabdan je below to there. Or just read maybe first two words together, and then we can read these others are maybe together.
When the correct approach to the two truths is realized through contemplating the four reasonings in this way, it brings the four genuine reliances. From such a supreme and flawless cause as this comes the result of profound primordial wisdom. When this experience is developed to its fullest, it releases the 8 great treasures of confidence that were sealed within the absolute space of awareness. Paula.
The supreme stainless cause is possession of the four reliances, which comes from contemplating how the Dharma of the two truths is established by the four types of reasoning. From this comes forth the fruition, profound, timeless awareness, and when this fully manifests, the 8 great treasures of confidence are released from concealment in the basic space of awareness. James.
When contemplating the four principles, relying upon which to ascertain the two truths, it brings the functions of the four reliances. From within these immaculate supreme causes, the fruit of profound wisdom arises, perfectly illuminating everything. Thus, sealed in the nature of awareness, the 8 treasures of eloquence are revealed.
Yes, we went through these, how these two truths are established by these 4 reasons, and then the result will be or we need to rely on certain things, cannot rely on certain things. And then we have these, then we will have sort of these 8 great treasury of confidence will arise. And now we read together maybe 8 treasury of confidence all together, maybe.
What, Kempo, which verses is that?
No, it's a few verses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, those are together, I think.
From which to which, can we say?
Yes, 94 to 96.
Okay. I have to just.
So these are 8 tertiary of what they say, 8 great tertiaries of confidence. Ngunchi tutong sambe shung jeba me ba chenbe de, teti sabdong ja che tong rabdong jeba lo ru de, doju jude tong tada kong tu chuba tokbe de, tobe namba ma lu ba namyo meji songji de, likbar hibin rowa kun tsimbar hiba pobe de, tambi chuji rinchen zu yonsu songwa chuji de. So these are the 8 one that we will gain when we attain enlightenment.
Scriptures heard and contemplated in the past are never forgotten. This is the treasure of recollection. Knowing precisely their profound and vast points, this is the treasure of intelligence. Understanding all the themes of the Sutra and Tantra collections, this is the treasure of realization. never forgetting any detail from one's studies. This is the treasure of retention. Satisfying all beings with excellent explanations. This is the treasure of confidence. Safeguarding the precious treasury of sacred teachings. This is the treasure of Dharma. Laura?
The treasure of memory is not forgetting the teachings previously studied and contemplated. The treasure of intelligence is discerning the vast and profound meanings of those teachings. The treasure of realization is internalizing the entire meaning of the sutras and tantras. The treasury of retention is never forgetting anything one has studied. The treasure of confidence is satisfying all beings by teaching well. The treasure of the Dharma is completely protecting the precious treasury of the sacred Dharma. Masha?
The teachings that are heard and contemplated in the past are never forgotten. This is the treasure of right recollection. The various profound and vast meanings are completely discerned. This is the treasure of intelligence. All doctrines in the sutras and tantras are well understood. This is the treasure of realization. Once heard, all meanings, with no exception, are never forgotten. This is the treasure of retention. Satisfying sentient beings with excellent teachings. This is the treasure of eloquence. The great precious treasury of the sublime Dharma is to be guarded in its entirety. This is the treasure of true Dharma.
Yes, see, that is the beauty of the Mipham Rinpoche's teaching. Do you remember at the beginning, I promised you that you will not disappointed by this text. Of course, you're not, but sometimes making ourselves promise or confidence and happy. Yeah? Okay, today I think we need to stop here. Of course, tomorrow, if anyone have time or energy, even don't want to come back, but it's also good sign of you pay a lot of attention in this reading. Means you are tired of it, and if not, we can practice together for an hour. I may give, not may, I give alone at the beginning. So that is today's session, and we read dedication together, and then we stop here, okay? Denzong dezong za bege zaga tenre zamba me be yi je kurande kursong yong da chen bu je da ne lo zo chen bu long de.
All sources of virtue amassed throughout the 3 times, as represented by this practice, are, with the immaculate wisdom of pure presence and awareness, sealed within the great and total purity of the 3 spheres, and in the expanse of the great perfection, the natural state. Ah.
Vardhan Zawe Lama Rinpoche Dāngi Je Urbe Medan Shola Gāri Jimbo Go Niji Song De Go Song To Jing Ur Tsardo Zo.
Would you like us to proceed to the English, Kempo, first?
There is no English.
Right, because there's 3 prayers in succession here, 1, 2, and 3. But
Oh. But I
So-
already sent this, yeah?
I thought we read the first one and then we stopped here.
Oh. Vardhan Lame Namba Tarvala Keje Zamyon Lota Meje Shin Jinze Likwaran Tongwe Muguje Lame Shin La Semla Hanju Gore Shon Jewa Kunde Yonda Lama Dang Rame Juji Bala Long Jujin Sadhan Lamji Yoden Rabzone Dorjin Chongi Komban Yerdosho.
Glorious Root Lama, precious one, dwell on the lotus seed in the depth of my heart. Look upon me with the grace of your great compassion and grant me the attainments of body, speech, and mind. Towards the lifestyle and activity of the Lama, may not even a moment's wrong view ever occur, and may I see their every action as a teaching for me. Through such devotion, may the Guru's blessing fill my mind. In all my lives, may I never be separated from the perfect Guru, and so enjoy the splendor of Dharma. Perfecting the virtues of the paths and bhumis, may I speedily attain the state of Vajradhara.
Thank you, everyone, and see you again and again.